Tennessee Valley, welcome to Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, founder and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. So glad you're taking some time to either listen or watch our show today. Want to welcome everybody on the radio, and then, of course, on YouTube and Facebook if you're watching us live. A couple of things I want to throw out there for you guys really quick is you can get a copy of my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. If you're in the Chattanooga area, text the word book to 423-710-9199. If you're up in the Knoxville area, again, text the word book, 865-951-7526. You can always go to plantodayoffer.com, plantodayoffer.com, or scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen, and we will get a book right out to you. Not sure if anybody's been watching the news here lately, but we've got a lot of stuff going on. We got the war in the Middle East, rising oil prices, job uncertainty, market volatility, and a lot of investors and even some of our clients are calling, and they're asking a simple question: is my retirement safe if the market drops? And that's what we're going to be talking about today, because there's a lot of things that are going on. But if you have the right plan put in place, times like this, when markets are uncertain or there's a lot of volatility going on, you know, if you have the right plan put together, then you're not so worried about these times and these hard times we got going on. So joining me today are our fiduciary advisors, Tim McDermott and Bobby Futch. Bobby, how you doing this morning? New
good.
daddy, man. New daddy.
Yep, back.
Not new daddy, but
a daddy for the second time.
An additional daddy.
In a while. Yeah, back in the saddle this week. Good to be back with you guys. My wife and I had a little baby boy last week.
that's right. Ben.
Little Benjamin James, doing well.
You look pretty well rested. How's
He
Alice?
said he did not sleep at all last
So
night.
last night was
Pretty good for that.
last night was the first night the kind of wheels fell off a little bit. So I can't complain about that. He's sleeping well, eating well. Everything's well at home.
That's awesome,
We
man.
couldn't be more excited.
That's awesome. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I also have two kids, but they sleep through the night now, which is nice.
I'll trade you one for a while. Yeah.
I have to tell everybody, if you're listening or watching out there, went over to Tim's house for dinner Sunday late afternoon, and I got to hang out with his little man, and we had a blast having dinner. I'm just going ahead and tell you. He wore a lot of it, but we found a new like for him, and that's black beans.
He does like black beans.
Oh, my
It's,
gosh.
Yeah.
He was crushing them.
I gave him a little bit, Bobby, and he kept going, more.
That's
more."
awesome.
Yeah. So I didn't have many black beans, but that's okay. I didn't need the carbs, so that's how it's going. So, guys, I jumped in talking about the headlines that are going on right now, and, you know, we got this war going on. We got inflation. We got volatility, and, you know, what do most investors, Tim, in this kind of time, when we're seeing the volatility that we're seeing in the markets right now, what are most investors doing wrong?
Yeah, we see. It's interesting the spot that we're in. If we saw a 1-2% swing in a day, 5-10 years ago, that was a huge day.
Right.
Huge day, right? It seems to be normal now, right?
Yeah, the volume is so much more in the stock market now
Yeah.
than it has been in
Sure,
decades
because
past.
we've been on a heck of a run.
Been on a huge run, and you're seeing some higher volatility, which is causing investors to make some more decisions, whether
Right.
it's good or bad. We're seeing a lot, right? You're seeing a lot more emotional selling, I think, in today's market. You're seeing, I guess, some of the, and I say this with hesitance, some of the greed that's hitting the market, right? Because we've seen such a great decade in our markets here recently, I think folks are feeling FOMO, fear of missing out, if they're not totally invested and they're not buying into the latest tech stock. And it's an interesting market, because if you actually look at what happened over the last 10 years, a lot of those gains came from about 7 different companies, right?
There's a name for those companies, isn't there?
There is the Magnificent Seven, right?
Mag 7.
And that's NVIDIA, Tesla, Google, Amazon. There's 7 of them. And those companies, tech stocks, and you'll end up seeing a lot of that flood over into the communication sector as well,
Right,
which is interesting. But those tech stocks are really what kept a lot of those gains so high over the last 10 years. And so people look at the S&P 500 and think, well, it's done really well. Yes, it has. And it still has without those Mag 7, but not nearly as well.
Yeah,
Right.
I like to call it recency bias.
Sure.
Right. We talk about this all the time. is realizing that this great run, I'm glad we were able to take advantage of it for a lot of our clients. It's not necessarily normal, right? The market doesn't keep growing, right? Trees don't grow to the sky, is like
Right,
what I like to
right.
say. And you got to realize, even with the recent war in Iran, right? That's fresh. By the way, there's still a war in Ukraine going on.
Yeah, it
Right.
sure is.
United States is still messing around down in Venezuela.
Yep.
There's a lot going on that gets forgotten about, I think, with the new headline. And the market's flat for the year.
Right.
That's still a pretty strong market, right? We gotta remember that you gotta kind of step away from the headlines every once in a while. They're important, right? We don't want to just dismiss them, but step back and look like what's going on in a broader picture. United States is a net exporter of energy,
Yeah.
which puts us, I hate to be so cavalier about it. War is terrible no matter where it goes on, but we're in a pretty good spot to kind of weather this storm. Does that mean the market's not going to go down? Absolutely not. It can. We've seen that, but we're still flat with everything going on.
So, Tim, do you think in times like this, a lot of people are more into the panic selling mode if they don't have a diversified strategy?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, they got a bunch of mutual funds and they think they're diversified.
Yeah. Diversification is an interesting word. It's very vague, right? And it can mean a lot of different things. I think diversification needs to be intentional. It used to be that you'd buy, 60% equities, 40% bonds, and you were pretty well set throughout retirement. And in those 40% equities, you had some different sectors in the United States. You had some international. You had a little bit of everything, right? And so as one maybe was a little bit weaker, the other one kind of picked up the slack there.
Yeah.
And with the higher volume we're seeing in today's market, it doesn't necessarily make sense to just be diversified across everything. So
I agree.
Be intentionally diversified. Diversification is important, but don't just buy a little bit of everything and hope it works out, right?
Right.
A diversification looks a little bit different, and I know in our next segment we're going to
talk about that,
We're going
yeah.
to talk about our bucket system.
Yeah,
So it'll be a different version of.
Stay with us, and we're
diversification.
going to show you in the next segment how our bucket system really helps in these crazy times we're in right now. And Bobby, speaking of crazy times, when the market is shaky like this, what should people really be asking themselves about their current portfolio?
I think it needs to, if you have a plan in place, you need to look less at your portfolio and more at your plan.
Sure.
When you have shaky markets like this, the response is, oh my goodness, let's go look at my market money, right? But if you put your plan in place, your market money is going to do what your market money's done. And as long as you're not reaching and you've got concentrations in certain positions that are going to be, overly affected by this, I just guess now if you've got a big concentration in, European stocks or, South American stocks, that was a bold call,
Yeah.
right? And bold calls can work one of two ways.
That's right.
So as long as you're diversified and you have a plan, you should be looking more at the plan and say, can my holistic plan, can my investments, can my income plan, is my savings where it needs to be? Because if all those things are in place, you're in position to weather these kind of storms.
You just brought up something, though, and Tim, I'll go to you on this. You said the word income.
Yeah.
I mean, should your income be exposed to this market volatility, Tim? I mean, should we have a place for your income planning to not be affected by shaky markets?
Yeah, at the very least, non-discretionary income should not be something that's exposed to these markets. Right?
Okay.
At the very least, right? Some folks prefer to have all their income needed completely protected, but at the very least, non-discretionary expenses need to be covered by a guaranteed basis.
Right. Not non-discretionary being the mortgage, the rent, the light bill, the things that have to get
pay.
I think you
paid,
have to pay.
right? And so, to Tim's point, you need a plan for those so you're not worried about war in the Middle East affecting those.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Bobby, what do you think about the fact of having a conversation with clients and saying, do you know the difference between risk tolerance and risk capacity?
Oh, it's huge. We talk about this a lot, and there are two different things, right? Risk tolerance is kind of how it makes you feel, which is important. But risk capacity is simply a number. It's a mathematical number.
Right.
How much risk can your financial or retirement plan take and still work out?
Yep.
For some people, those numbers are the same. For, I'd say, more than most, those aren't the same, right?
Agreed.
If you have a portfolio in the market and the math works out that you can take a 20% downturn and still have a very good chance of not running out of money in retirement, that's your risk capacity. man, that's going to make you feel real bad, right? You wake up one week or 1 month and your market money's down 20%. The math still works, but man, you're really scared to do what you want to do in retirement.
Yeah, and you want to maintain that lifestyle.
That's
in
right.
retirement. That's the goal. And Tim, jumping back to you, the markets are down, okay, and they're not down that bad. But let's just say the markets are down, and we're going to have those times coming up. We know that. But if somebody's just pulling money or withdrawing money out of a portfolio that's down, let's call it 15%. Say a portfolio is down 15%, and let's say it runs that way for the year, and somebody's pulling out 25, 30, 35, 40 grand for an income, it's going to bite them.
Yeah, you're pulling out of a decreasing asset, right? And so it's not allowing that asset to grow back to where it needs to go as quick and as efficiently as it should. And the other kicker to this, and we talk about this quite often, is sequence of returns risk. If you see that big market crash happen in the first year, 2, 3 years of retirement, that can have a major overall effect to the long-term plan and what you're trying to accomplish. Again, which is kind of why we revert back to how do we guarantee some income so that you don't have to pull out of a decreasing asset during times like this. There's multiple ways to do this, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're protecting the market money from being double hit, right? You don't want to have to reach in and pull money out of an account that's already decreasing, allow that money to do what it's got to do, give it some flexibility, some room to breathe.
Yeah, I think the overall comments that we're making here is that you got to have a plan, folks. I mean, you can't just have all your eggs in one basket, because when the markets get volatile, like they are currently right now, and you're pulling money out of those down markets like Tim just talked about, that's not a plan. Is it a strategy? Sure, it's a strategy. Is it the right strategy? Maybe not, because the number one goal is to never run out of money. You want to have a happy retirement. You don't want to have a stressful retirement. And that's why when we come back on our second segment, we're going to talk about our red bucket and our yellow bucket and our green bucket of money. I know we talk about it a lot, but guys, it's simple. It makes your lifestyle simple. It makes retirement planning simple. Again, if you'd like a copy of my book, Plan the Day on Tomorrow, if you're in the Chattanooga area, text the word book to 423-710-9199. If you're in the Knoxville area, text the word book to 865-951-7526. You can always go to plantodayoffer.com, plantodayoffer.com, and or scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube and Facebook, if you'll just comment book below, we'll get in touch with you and we'll get a book out to you that way as well. So like I said, we're talking about the markets being volatile right now. What should you be looking at inside of your portfolio? When we come back, we're going to show you how we do diversification here at Guardian Investment Advisors by using our red, yellow, and green buckets. We'll be right back.
We know the market is going to get worse from here. This is the biggest monthly decline in 10 years. People's 401ks took a major hit.
Well, my investments are tanking. My retirement isn't going as planned. I can't believe I let my kid talk me into buying crypto. I mean, what is that anyway?
This was the fourth worst contraction in history.
So how are you two doing?
Your financial future doesn't have to be uncertain. I'm Gary Thurman with Guardian Investment Advisors. If you've amassed a nest egg, it's time for a financial advisor to help you reach your retirement goals. This is one of the greatest tax windows in history. Now is the time to take advantage of this tax discount while you can. All of our advisors are fiduciaries that specialize in retirement planning, tax mitigation, estate planning, and more. Plan your retirement right. Call now for your own complimentary portfolio review and tax analysis. Welcome back to Plan the Day on Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, founder and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. Thanks for joining us either on Facebook, YouTube, and are listening to us on the radio today. Want to throw my book offer out there one more time. If you are in the Chattanooga area, text the word book to 423-710-9199. And if you're in the Knoxville area, text the word book 865-951-7526. Or go to plantodayoffer.com. That's plantodayoffer.com. Put your information in there. We'll reach out, get in touch with you, and we'll get a book sent right out to you. So, guys, we went into the last segment talking about our diversification strategy, and we call that the red, yellow, and green bucket strategy. And it just makes things simple. I've seen you guys work with clients. I've seen Brogan up in Knoxville work with clients and show them how their bucket system is currently set up. And then when they come back in for that next appointment, show them how we would diversify a little differently, how we would strategize a little differently with our bucket system. And I know people just their eyes get a little bigger. They get it's so this is not complicated. You're not throwing a lot of pie charts and graphs at us. You're just saying a red, yellow, and green bucket of money, which is good. Tim, we need money in the market. We need exposure to the growth in the market. So I'm going to start with you talking about our red bucket. I mean, the red bucket is really centered for growth.
Yeah. Money in the market, you're talking about, most people have a lot of their money in the market, especially while they're working, while they're contributing to retirement accounts, your 401k, your IRA. A lot of these are most of the time driven by market returns, which is good. What's the down draw? You have risk involved with them, right? Which is okay. It's hard to get ahead in life without taking on any kind of risk. But when we sit down and talk with clients, we're typically talking to the pre-retiree or retired folk already, right? And so we're talking to folks who are looking to retire in the next 5 years, and they're concerned about the market, right? They've spent their entire life building up this bucket of money so that they could go enjoy life. And at the end of the day, I think what they want is two things. They want some security, and they want to keep it simple.
Yeah.
And I think this strategy does both of those. I'm a big proponent of the acronym KISS, keep it stupid simple, right?
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, either way, right? And so I think it makes a lot of sense to run a diversification strategy like this. Now, there's more that goes in behind the scenes, but the upfront idea, the philosophy of it makes a lot of sense and keeps it very simple.
Yeah, so we think it's always good to have some skin in the game, to keep some money in that market. There's a lot of reasons for that, but the main goal for that red bucket of money is growth. That's the main goal. It's not your income bucket. It's your money for growth, for longevity, and a lot of different things going on. Now, Bobby, we always have people with emergencies. Things pop up. Things happen. Our yellow bucket of money might be our most boring bucket of money. Let's just put it that way. But it sure is needed.
Yeah, I feel bad for the yellow bucket of money.
I know. A little frowny face on the yellow bucket here.
You're always calling it boring, but in that planning philosophy, it's the one you need to pay attention to first, probably.
Sure.
Right? So
absolutely.
The yellow bucket of money is your emergency money. Things are going to happen. You're going to have a kid that's going to be ridiculously expensive, right? Your car's transmission is going to get tore up. You're going to need to do something to the house. Things always happen. It's life. And you need to have that yellow bucket of money set aside in a safe place. Bank CDs, money market funds. I don't care where you put it. It just needs to be accessible, and you need to know it's going to be there for when those things inevitably pop up. And you do that first because you don't want to be pulling from the other buckets when those things happen.
So I'm going to stay with you, Bobby. Somebody walks in here and they've got $1 million portfolio. How much money should we actually have in this yellow bucket?
Yeah, we met with a lady like this a couple weeks ago. She did really well for herself. She had almost $2 million in retirement accounts, and every time something happened, she had to go to her IRA to pull out money to take care of these expenses.
Uncle Sam loved her.
Uncle Sam absolutely loves her because every time she's got to fix the car, put new tires on something, she's got to go pull from her taxable bucket of money. Sure. And so we helped her, go ahead and make a one-time withdrawal when taxes made sense for her and just put it in the bank so it can get it. As far as how much you need to have, it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
We usually say it's 3, maybe 6 months, probably closer to 6 months of expenses.
Yep.
Right. Even if you have income coming in to cover those, that income may stop for any number of reasons.
Yeah.
Especially if you're working. Right.
Yeah.
You may get fired. You may get hurt. Something happens. You need to have a bucket of money you can pull from to make sure your expenses are taken care of.
So, Tim, in the first segment, we were talking about the market volatility. You just talked about the client you guys had recently coming in. She was pulling money out of that, let's say, down market right now. The yellow bucket's a little bit of a buffer, if you will. So maybe you could pull money from the yellow bucket and let the red bucket recover.
Yeah. It may be boring, but it's reliable, right?
Yeah.
We all need that one reliable friend or one reliable thing in our lives, right? And this is what that's there for. Bobby had alluded to the tax situation. That's a problem in and of itself,
Sure.
right? If you put yourself in a position where you're right on the line of crossing over to the next tax bracket, and maybe there's a IRMA charge there if you pull anything else out, and then all of a sudden you need a new roof that year and you got to go pull $20,000 out. Now you put yourself in a taxable situation that is hard to get around, right?
Everything costs 15 or 20% more if you're pulling it from a taxable bucket.
That's right.
You can think of it like that.
Yeah.
But then I kind of hear that and I think, okay, well, you got to pull that money at some point anyways, which means you're
Sure.
going to have to pay the taxes, but do it in a favorable
Right.
position.
Tax favored.
And the other side to that is understanding the risk tolerance, right? Right now, we're Gary had alluded to this in the first segment. We're seeing the war in Iran. We're seeing some market volatility. We're seeing a lot of things going on internationally with tensions. And most people are in a position where their account's not necessarily screaming up right now.
Yeah.
And so right now may not be the best time to go in and pull out that extra cash if you don't need to. So if it's already sitting over there in a bucket ready for you to use, then it allows that market account to recover and allows you to be more tax efficient.
I got you.
retirement.
Bobby, does the yellow bucket of money have to be in a bank? Could it not be in a portfolio that's liquid?
It can be, but I think it's more about what investments it's invested in.
Okay.
So if you wanted to have your yellow bucket of money in a market account, you could do that. But then again, just make sure it's in something that's liquid, like a money market or something like that.
Safe.
Yeah, you don't want it in any kind of instrument that's going to change in value quite a bit. Right.
Okay.
That's not the point. And you're kind of you can get it out of a market account in 2 or 3 days.
Sure.
Well,
If it's in the bank, you can go get it right now.
Sure.
That's right,
And,
yeah.
and that's kind of the point.
Okay, I like it. So the red bucket's for growth, the yellow bucket's for safety and emergencies. I want to talk about my favorite bucket, gentlemen. I want to talk about the green bucket. Tim, I'll start with you.
Sure.
We talked about in the first segment, your income should not be reliable upon the market. And that's just how we feel here at Guardian Investment Advisors. Let's talk about this green bucket of money and the importance of having that set up properly.
Yeah, the green bucket allows you to guarantee that income. And in the first segment, we talked about non-discretionary income. And most folks like to have a certain amount of their expenses totally covered, guaranteed. Doesn't matter what's happening in the market, doesn't matter what's happening in Iran or at the White House or in Congress. This is money that comes to you every month. Gary, I think we refer to this sometimes as mailbox money.
Mailbox money, yeah, I love that.
It's going to show up in your mailbox every month, no matter what happens. And the green bucket allows us to do that, right? So when we're planning, when we're looking at a situation, we're looking at, hey, do we have our emergency account put in place? Yes? Okay, great. Most of the rest of your money is usually in a 401k or in
Right.
a market of some sort. And then you're guaranteeing yourself a certain amount of income throughout retirement, whether that's Social Securities, pensions, so on and so forth. 99 times out of 100, that pension and Social Security does not cover the entirety of all your expenses.
That's right.
Or you don't want it to, for sure.
That's
Yeah.
right. And so we're looking at what that gap is. If there's a $3,000 or $4,000 gap, how do we cover that $3,000 or $4,000 gap with a green bucket of money?
Yeah, Brogan and I were just on the phone yesterday with a lady down in Atlanta, and she was going to have about a $2,000 gap. So I said, we can fill that with our green bucket of money and leave the rest of your money in the market. And she went, well, how do you do that? And I said, simple, red, yellow, green. The red bucket of money is for growth. The yellow bucket of money is going to protect you in the downturns. The green bucket pays you an income, which is what we like. The green bucket is going to keep paying you even when the markets are down, and that yellow bucket of money is going to give you a buffer. So it's kind of neat to set up a strategy like that. To us, that is true diversification, because if you come in, sit down with Tim, Bobby, Brogan, look at our bucket strategy. Let's try to take retirement planning and make it more simple. We want you to have the best retirement you can. All we have to do is know what your lifestyle goals are. What is your mission in retirement? It's like starting a new job. It really is like starting a new job. You got to create a paycheck, you got to create security, and you got to create longevity. That's what our bucket system does for you, and Tim and Bobby and Brogan are absolutely amazing at showing you how to do that. So again, if you'd like a copy of my book, Plan the Day on Tomorrow, if you're in the Chattanooga area, text the word book, 423-710-9199. I'll say it again, 423-710-9199. If you're up in the Knoxville area, text the word book, 865-951-7526, 865-951-7526. You can always go to plantodayoffer.com, plantodayoffer.com, or you can scan that QR code at the bottom of your screen right now. If you're watching this on YouTube and Facebook, it'll take you right to the site of plantodayoffer.com. And again, if you are watching us on YouTube, Facebook, all you have to do is go into the comment section below, text the word book. We're going to reach out to you. We're going to get you a copy of our book. We can text it to you, email it to you, and/or we'll mail you a hard copy. I'd love for you to get a copy of my book. It talks about income planning, healthcare planning, tax planning. It talks about a lot of different things. Then when you come in and see the guys, you'll kind of know how we work and what our system's like. Just makes it a little bit easier for you. So again, go to plantodayoffer.com, plantodayoffer.com. Now, guys, I think one of the biggest pitfalls in retirement is when people do not plan for health care and Medicare. I think it's one of the two biggest things that we're going to talk about on our next segment. Don't miss it. We'll be right back. Hi, my name is Gary Thurman, owner and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. For years, our team has helped thousands of retirees and pre-retirees build a confident, predictable, and stress-free retirement plan. If you've worked hard for 30, 40 years, you deserve a retirement that works for you, not one filled with uncertainty, rising healthcare costs, or market concerns. At Guardian Investment Advisors, we take a comprehensive approach to retirement. That means we help you with building a reliable income plan so you know exactly where your paychecks will come from. Navigate Medicare with clarity, making sure you pick the right coverage to avoid costly mistakes. Preparing for long-term care needs with smart planning and protection strategies. Managing your investments with a personalized portfolio tailored to your goals, risk tolerance, and your retirement timeline. Reduce taxes wherever possible with proactive planning so you keep more of your hard-earned savings. You deserve a retirement plan built specifically for you, not a one-size-fits-all approach. Plan your retirement the right way. Call us today or connect with us using one of the many options below. Let's get started empowering your retirement right now. Thank you. Welcome back to Plan the Day on Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, founder and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. Having a great show today. Again, thank you for taking the time to listen to us on the radio or watch us on YouTube and our Facebook. We just talked about our bucket strategy. I wanted to throw a slide up on our screen really quick to show you how simple this is for you guys, because I know you cannot see this slide if you're watching us or listening to us on the radio, but the bucket system really works. There's the yellow bucket, the green bucket, and the red bucket. Again, the yellow bucket of money is our emergency account. Our green bucket of money is going to be for income. And our red bucket of money is going to be the money in the market for growth, growth, growth. We need that, folks, because longevity risk is the greatest risk we have because we're living longer. That gives us more opportunity to, one, run out of money, and two, get sick. So you got to plan for that. The green bucket of money is going to make sure you never run out of money. And that's what we try to do here at Guardian Investment Advisors. I talked about getting sick, gentlemen. 70% of us are going to need some type of long-term care, and that is a huge number. I started in this business 3 decades ago selling long-term care insurance, and at that time it was 33% of us. So because of that longevity risk that I just talked about, there's now more opportunities for us to get sick. Even though medicine's better, technology's better, you still are living longer, and sooner or later, somebody, most likely, is going to need some type of long-term care. So, Bobby, real quick to you, how does healthcare risk impact someone's retirement plan?
Oh, it's absolutely massive because a lot of people, it can be one of the, if not the biggest expense in retirement. And that's what retirement is about, making sure you can live out however long the Lord has you on this earth without running out of money.
Right.
If you're going to ignore what's possibly your biggest expense in retirement, how are you putting a comprehensive plan together?
No,
I just don't think
like
that works that way. And to your point, 70-some-odd% of people are going to need increased spending on medical expenses in retirement. It's just not something you can overlook. But it's something you can plan for.
Well, you can plan for it because, I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but like just in-home care in the state of Tennessee is going to cost you $2,000 to $3,000 a month. God forbid if you need to go to some type of assisted living, now you're $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month. Then God forbid if you need full-skill care, Alzheimer's. It's a big, big disease, unfortunately, out there. We see it all the time. Folks, we're talking $8,000 to $12,000 a month. And, you know, in my opinion, the stock market is not your greatest risk in retirement. It's getting sick.
Agreed.
It's getting sick. So we got to make sure that we get set up for that. So, Tim, on the side note, we'll come back to the long-term care part of this, Medicare. I think people just overlook Medicare. I think they're like, I'm just going to do what my cousin did. I'm just going to do what my, fellow employee did. When it comes to Medicare planning, you need to sit down with an advisor who can truly understand what your medical needs are going to be and get the right plan together. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I think on the surface you see a lot about these Medicare plans. Some of them Some of them have zero out-of-pocket costs, for premiums, right? Some of them pay you money back each month, and it's in these fancy, sounding red ribbons that are tied around a box, sound really cool on the surface. But when you dig into it and you understand what kind of effect is that going to have on me in retirement, what kind of drugs am I currently taking, how often do I go see the doctor, all this is going to play a factor into what that bottom line cost is going to be. Tanner Moore's in our office. He's right down the hall from us, and I send all of my clients to him to talk about Medicare,
Right.
because this is a cost that you're going to incur in one form or fashion throughout retirement, and I'd rather the bottom line cost be as cheap as possible, and that's what he focuses on, not the big fancy, headlines and everything that sounds fancy and cool. He looks at the bottom line cost
Yeah,
for
a
it.
lot of people think Medicare is like a light switch. I turn 65,
Just turn it
let's
on.
go flip the switch and turn it on.
Yeah.
It couldn't be further from the truth. It's a complicated system. And to Tim's point, there are so many options, and you got to make sure the option you pick works best for you. And then review it. Review
Oh,
it at least.
absolutely.
We say every year. If you're a
At least
guardian
every
client,
other year, yeah.
he's right here.
Oh,
Tanner's
yeah.
right here. Review it, because the plan you're on changes every year too.
Yeah, it was amazing to me. We were up in Knoxville a few weeks ago, and he sat down with a client, and we're talking about their Medicare planning. They were just now turning 65. And what I saw Tanner actually do for these folks, and, he went to the trouble, I'll put it that way, he went to every pharmacy in their local area to find out where they could get their prescription drugs for less money. A lot of people are not going to do that. You're not going to get that when you call the 1-800 number.
Yeah.
So, having somebody on your side when it comes to Medicare planning, it's not going to cost you any more money than calling that 800 number. Sit down with an advisor who truly understands how Medicare works, but truly understands your situation. That's important to me. I want to jump back in, Bobby, really quick to the long-term care planning, because we just kind of went through the health care really, really quick. Long-term care insurance, it's expensive. Right now, if you can even qualify for it, there's so many fine prints to traditional long-term care insurance. I'm not saying if you have it to get rid of it, but Bobby, there's better ways to plan for that what if.
Yeah. Can I back up one second to
Yeah.
our previous conversation and say, by working with somebody like Tanner, especially if you're a guardian client, it allows us that are putting your retirement plan together to help you plan for that better, because we
Oh,
know
absolutely.
what you're
Yeah.
going to pay every month, every year. We know what the catastrophic out-of-pocket's going to be, so you can rest easier at night knowing your retirement plan covers those, God forbid, things that happen.
And then Medicare doesn't cover long-term care costs, which
That's
is
right.
why we talk about long-term care.
You got to
right?
you got to put them together.
Yeah, long-term care, traditional long-term care insurance is a dinosaur. You kind
It
of
sure
mentioned
is.
that, right? It's expensive. It's expensive when you first get it, if you can get it. It's going to be more expensive every year because they're going to give you the opportunity to pay them more to keep your coverage. And so the marketplace has really gotten great in the last 4 or 5 years about what are some other ways to cover these long-term care costs. And the green bucket we talked about last segment, for a lot of people, that means a properly structured fixed indexed annuity,
Right.
guaranteeing that income. Well, if you work with the right companies, and I'd say 95+%
Yeah, most of them.
of the FIAs we place have a benefit called a multi-benefit rider. It says, God forbid you get sick, there's a benefit in place to help you increase that income on a guaranteed basis for a set amount of time to cover those extra expenses.
Yep.
No medical underwriting because it's an annuity, right? But it's there to help you cover those costs if you need it. Being able to plan for long-term care using the assets that are already in place is huge, and it's been 100% of the planning we've done since I've been here for almost 2 years.
It's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer. I mean, you're using that green bucket money for income, and guess what? If you get sick, and you do not have to be in a home, by the way, the money's paid directly to you. So if somebody's making $24,000 a year, they'll double that to $48,000 a year for 5 years.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's going to cover a lot of in-home care.
And to your point, traditional long-term care a lot of times is a reimbursement program. You've got to pay the bill. You've got to get the receipt that you paid the bill. You got to send it to the insurance company. The insurance company looks at it and says, is this customary and is this necessary? They may say, okay, we'll pay 3/4 of that.
Right.
They'll give you a check back. If you're lucky, in amount of time for you to go ahead and pay the next month's costs. Right? Oftentimes, you're putting out a lot of money for this
Sure.
care before these policies even pay you back. Asset-based care isn't like that. It's a check written right to you if most of the time you fail 2 of the 6 ADLs.
That's right. So, Tim, Bobby's talking about the income planning with our fixed indexed annuities, how they double for long-term care. We do have another option if someone's just sitting on a lot of cash, where they can actually throw money into a program. We call it asset-based long-term care. So it's going to be put in an asset. It's still going to grow. It's there for them if they need long-term care, but if not, it just passes through the beneficiaries. Give us a 60-second explanation of that.
Yeah, the idea here is that we're trying to leverage the asset. So if you have some underutilized cash that's not working for you, this is a great place to go put it. It works. It grows at a fixed rate on the cash value, and if you never use it, that money passes on to your children. And then the long-term care amount there actually can all the way up to triple the benefit there.
Yeah.
Meaning that if you put $100,000 into it, it could be worth $300,000 towards long-term care costs and growing. Long-term care medical costs in general are one of the highest inflated programs in the United States right now, and it has been for quite a while.
Sure.
And so if you're not able to grow and keep up with that inflated cost, that $9,000 to $12,000 for private, full-scale care, I mean, it very easily could double in the next 10, 15, 20 years, right?
I've been doing this for 3 decades, gentlemen, and I've actually seen people who did not have any type of long-term care planning. All their assets get spent down so that they can then get Medicaid. That's devastating to a family. I mean, it really is, and it's just plan for it.
Especially a surviving spouse.
Oh, absolutely.
Medicaid is not a system you necessarily want to be in.
You don't want to be in there. I think if you look at a full retirement plan, folks, there's 4 things I think you have to look at. You have to look at your investments, of course. Make sure you're set up the right way. You got to look at your income plan. You've got to have a written income plan in place. You've got to consider health care, and that includes Medicare. How are you doing it? When you doing it? Which one should you pick? Be prepared for that what if. What if you get sick? That should be part of your plan. And then on the next and final segment, we're going to talk about a word that can devastate your retirement, and that's your favorite uncle, Uncle Sam. We're going to talk about tax planning when we come back. So I don't think you want to miss that because there's some opportunities right now we have, especially for those 65 and above, that you don't want to miss. So when we come back, we're going to be talking about some tax planning, some opportunities you have right now. If you're in the Chattanooga area and you'd like a copy of my book, Plan the Day, Own Tomorrow, text the word book, 423-710-9199. If you're in Knoxville, text the word book to 865-951-7526. You're going to always go to plantodayoffer.com, plantodayoffer.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, comment book below. We'll send a book right out to you and/or scan that QR code on the bottom of your screen right now. And it'll take you straight to the plantodayoffer.com website, and we'll get that book right out to you. Again, when we come back, we're going to talk about some tax planning and some opportunities you need to know about with the One Big Beautiful Bill. We'll be right back.
We know the market is going to get worse from here. This is the biggest monthly decline in 10 years. People's 401ks took a major hit.
Well, my investments are tanking. My retirement isn't going as planned. I can't believe I let my kid talk me into buying crypto. I mean, what is that anyway?
This was the 4th worst contraction in history.
So how are you two doing?
Your financial future doesn't have to be uncertain. I'm Gary Thurman with Guardian Investment Advisors. If you've amassed a nest egg, it's time for a financial advisor to help you reach your retirement goals. This is one of the greatest tax windows in history. Now is the time to take advantage of this tax discount while you can. All of our advisors are fiduciaries that specialize in retirement planning, tax mitigation, estate planning, and more. Plan your retirement right. Call now for your own complimentary portfolio review and tax analysis. Hey guys, welcome back to Plan the Day on Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, and I'm working on my remote control right now. Sorry about that. Hey, welcome back to Plan the Day on Tomorrow. Gary Thurman, CEO and founder of Guardian Investment Advisors. We're having a great show today. Thank you for listening to us on the radio. Thank you for watching us on YouTube and our Facebook. We truly appreciate you guys so very much. If you have any questions, if you want to come in and see the guys, all you got to do is call us. 423-710-9199 in Chattanooga. If you're in the Knoxville area, 865-951-7526. Come in and have a conversation about that bucket system we just talked about. I think you'll really enjoy it, and you'll get to meet Tim and Bobby and our Brogan up in Knoxville. They're wonderful to work with, and they are here to help you as much as they can. So we got a special guest. If you're watching us right now, we got Sammy Jr. Not Sammy the Duck, but Sammy Jr. on set with us today. And kind of a funny way to talk about taxes, because we think tax planning is crucial. We think tax planning should be part of every single body's retirement plan out there. You got to have some tax planning. Now, we're not talking about filing your taxes. That's what CPAs are for. We're talking about doing true tax planning. So, Tim, I'm going to start with you. Why is tax planning so critical right now for retirees?
Yeah, we're in one of the lowest tax brackets we've ever seen in U.S. history. And so it's a good time to take advantage of things. If you have to pay taxes to Uncle Sam at some point in time, why not pay them while they're cheap?
I like that.
We think that taxes probably will go up from here. We don't know when. We just saw the one big beautiful bill pass last year, and that made our current tax bracket, quote unquote, permanent.
Till it's not.
Right.
Permanent
And
until
so
it's not.
we're concerned about, maybe the next administration coming in and changing what that tax bill may look like. And while that tax picture is going to be a problem for us, it's really going to be a problem for Sammy Jr. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And so as you are looking at how you're building out your retirement, yeah, we want to take care of you. We want to take care of mom and dad. But I also want to make sure that what you've worked so hard for goes to Sammy Jr. Well, not in that sense, I guess.
To
Not
you,
We
Uncle
do
Junior.
have
Sam.
Sammy, the big duck. Now we got Sammy Jr., the little duck.
I want to make sure it goes to your kids and not Uncle Sam. Right?
Yeah, right. And because most Americans, Bobby, right now, most Americans, I'd say 90% or more, most of their money is in some type of pre-tax account.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't recall off the top of my head anybody I've met with in 16 years of doing this whose all retirement money is in Roth.
No.
Couple of folks have
Every once in a while.
no retirement accounts at all. It's all in brokerage accounts or banks. But the point is it's all taxable, and it's not going away. And to your point, it's going to go up. And if you're going to have to pay again those taxes at some point, even if you die with a whole bunch of money, your kids are going to pay the taxes on that money.
Somebody's got to pay the tax.
And we talk about what they can increase to in our lifetime. We really should be thinking about your kids' lifetime too.
Sure.
If you've got some sort of legacy going.
And we've heard a lot recently. Well, they're going to inherit $1 million, $2 million. Who cares? That's their problem, But at the end
Yeah.
of the day, you worked really hard for that money. I'm sure. I haven't met one person yet that would rather see it go to Uncle Sam than it would go to their kids, right?
Right.
Yeah, there's actually a Venmo out there. If you want to just go ahead and
That's
give your
true.
money to the government
That's
to help
true.
them pay down their debt, you can just go ahead and give it to them now if
That's
you want
right.
to.
That's right.
But I haven't had anybody take them up on that offer yet.
Tim, I think a lot of people don't understand as well, if you're a mom and dad and you're planning on leaving all the money to the kids, God forbid you get in a car accident. Both of you pass away, and you've got $1 million in an IRA out there, a 401k. Those kids, let's say they got 3 children. They've got to take that money out over 10 years.
Yeah,
They don't have a choice.
No more than 10
No
years.
more than 10
right?
years,
They
right?
They could take it sooner, but they're going to be forced to take it all out within that 10-year mark. And that may be adding $100,000 to your income every single year, assuming no growth in that account. And if you're already making a good living, that could push you into 1-2 tax brackets higher.
Maybe the
than where
highest
you
tax
already are.
bracket.
Yeah.
So I think it's important right now to understand that we are in this the third lowest tax bracket we've ever been in. I know that Bobby and Tim and Brogan, the big conversation we're having with most of our clients right now are Roth conversions. And you might want to have a conversation with the guys about that, because is it right for you? I don't know. You need to come in and have a conversation to see if Roth conversions, paying taxes on the seeds versus the harvest, might help you out, but it might also help out your spouse, might also help out your children. Keep a little bit more money out of Uncle Sam's pocket, if you will. Tim, the one big beautiful bill. I do like having this conversation. I know it's a very confusing conversation. There's a lot of, moving parts to the one big beautiful bill, but there's one thing going on right now. And so if you're 65 and older, I really want you to pay attention to Tim right now, because if you're 65 and older for the next couple years, 26, 27, 28, you're getting an additional $6,000 deduction that you could actually take advantage of and do those Roth conversions.
Yeah, this additional deduction was the answer to no tax on Social Security, right? That was one of the promises of the current administration, and they weren't able to pass no tax on Social Security. They were able to add an additional $6,000 deduction for seniors over the age of 65. However, this is a temporary deduction.
3 years.
This was not a permanent deal. At the end of 2028, it goes away. And so right now you are getting an additional $12,000 deduction as a married couple, allowing you to potentially do some Roth conversions without changing your tax picture, right?
I would have liked it to be permanent, right?
But hey, you know what? And we never know.
You never know. They
We
could
never
be
know.
extended. The great thing about this is if it was just no tax on Social Security, that's very specific, right? Your Social Security won't be taxed.
That's right.
What a lot of people, I think, overlook is this deduction. You can use it for whatever income you want,
That's right.
right? And so it's not just for Social Security. You know, we have some folks out there, their Social Security is not taxable,
Right.
or just a portion of it's taxable. And so if you've got other income above that, you can use this credit for it. So if nothing changed from, 2024 to 2025, you've got, as a married couple, an extra $12,000
Yeah.
in tax planning.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of advisors that don't understand because they don't work that way. They don't do tax planning. They just talk about investments all the time, Bobby. They don't understand how huge of a deal this is. You know, a married couple in a 24% tax bracket takes advantage of that $12,000 Tim talked about. You could convert $50,000 this year, next year, and the following year. $50,000 and not change your tax bracket at all.
Per year.
That's per year. So you have $150,000 in a Roth account now, which is really, really neat to pay for whatever down the road, which is really cool.
Or give your kids tax-free.
That's right. But Bobby, let's. I don't think most advisors out there are having a tax conversation with their clients. I just they talk about growth, investments. But true retirement planning includes what?
Yeah, it includes taxes. It includes income. It includes healthcare conversations. And my favorite conversation to have with everybody is, what kind of lifestyle do you want? That's the first conversation we have.
Sure.
Because that's what we help plan for, right? All these other things are just a means to get to that lifestyle you want in retirement. So if you don't have a conversation about all those things, your plan has a lot of big holes in it because they all have to work together to get to you to where you want to be.
It's kind of one of those. I just thought of an analogy here. Like a lot of the big box firms, it's just like take a dart, throw it up against the wall, hope it sticks, in the right place. That's not a plan.
Yeah.
Tim, I mean, seriously, having an investment portfolio is important. Having those big brokerage firms and grow your money is great. But there comes a time in your life where that's not a plan. And without a plan, it's just like going into a football game. The head coach has a plan to execute.
Yeah.
You got to have a plan to execute going into retirement.
I hope when you come in, sit down and talk with us, you'll notice that the investment portion is important, but it's usually the last thing we'll talk about. When we first sit down, we talk about that lifestyle that Bobby talks about. We want to know, what does it take to live your life and do the things you want to do in retirement. We'll look at the guaranteed income sources you have coming in. We'll look at what it takes to fill that income gap. We'll look at what it takes to take care of inflation throughout retirement. We'll look at the tax picture. We're going to make sure that the long-term care planning is taken care of. We'll send you down the hall to meet with Tanner Moore and make sure that Medicare is in place for you. And all of this builds into one big picture because everything talks to each other. The tax picture makes difference in the inflation picture, makes difference in the income picture, makes a difference in the healthcare plan, and all of these connect in some form or fashion. And so they have to be included and planned for together.
Yeah.
And I hope this is something that you notice when you come in, sit down, and talk with us. We will talk about the investments. You're not making, investments with the hope of making no money, right? Making money is important, but the bigger, more important plan or more important picture is the plan itself and how things will work together.
And if you don't have a conversation about all those things, you don't know what your risk tolerance and your risk capacity is for the red bucket.
You have no
anyway.
idea.
That's right.
Right. So overlooking all those other things, just hoping to cover it up with enough growth to make sure the plan works is not a good way to do retirement planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the final takeaway here is you have to protect your income, you have to protect your health, you have to protect your taxes, and you have to protect that lifestyle, Tim, that you were just talking about. Listen, folks, if you're in the Chattanooga area, come in and see Tim and Bobby, 423-710-9199. If you're up in the Knoxville area, come in and see myself and Brogan, 865-951-7526. Now, we always give a copy of my book away, Plan Today on Tomorrow. You can text the word book in Chattanooga, 423-710-9199, sorry. You can text the word book to 865-951-7526 in the Knoxville area. You can always go to plantodayoffer.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube and our Facebook, scan that QR code at the bottom of your screen. It's going to take you straight to the plantodayoffer.com. We'll get your information. We'll send the book out. Folks, look, let's get Sammy. Uncle Sammy. This is Sammy Jr., by the way. Let's get him out of your pocket. Come in and have a conversation about, oh, he just died over. Throw him out of here, Bobby. Plan the day on tomorrow. We've had a lot of fun on today's show. We're going to come back next week with some more great information with retirement planning. We'll always try to make this show educational. That's our whole goal. Also, if you're looking out on the TVs, look for us on all the local stations. Plan the day on tomorrow. We have a TV show as well. We'd love for you to watch that. Love for you to come in and see us, and we'd love to earn your business. Hey, guys, thanks for listening. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.